Hey boys, I'm back! Oh. I just wanted to say that I am back for my camp and I'll be able to be posting as much as I want. So expect 1 or 2 videos per week and on with the review. Finding Dory is directed by Andrew Stanton and Angus MacLean and stars Ellen DeGeneres as the title character Dory, Albert Brooks as Marlin, and Ed O'Neill as Hank the Octopus. The events of Finding Dory take place 1 year after the events of Finding Nemo. Dory actually remembers her family, and she decides she wants to go on an epic quest to find them. So, because she has short-term memory loss, Nemo and Marlin decide they will accompany her along the journey. However, things get fishy when Nemo, Marlin, and Dory become trapped in an aquarium. So they must go on an epic adventure to both find Dory and find Dory's family. Before I really dive into the pros and cons of this film, I need to talk a little bit about its company, which is Pixar. Pixar is known for making some of the greatest animated films of all time. And I was talking with a good friend of mine the other day, and he brought up a good point. There are 2 kinds of Pixar movies. There are A, Pixar movies that are good for families, and B, Pixar movies that are good for critics. Now, for example, an example of a good Pixar family film might be Cars, Cars 2, Brave, A Bug's Life, and stuff like that. However, some of the big critic Pixar movies might be the Toy Story movies, Up, WALL-E, The Incredibles, and Ratatouille. And so, I think that by the end of this video, you can help me decide whether Dory is a good critic movie or a good family movie. Now, into the cons. My first con with Finding Dory is that the plot is just a little too similar to Finding Nemo. Now, a lot of movies have problems with being too similar to their predecessors. For example, the recent Star Wars The Force Awakens was one of its major flaws was that it was too similar to New Hope, and I think that Dory has a very similar problem. It's very similar to the plot of Finding Nemo, and it kind of goes through some of the same motions, and it's just kind of weird. My next flaw for Finding Dory is the emotional roller coaster, which is a major problem in a Pixar movie. Pixar is known for being able to leave anyone crying or bawling in their seat, whether that be the first 10 minutes of Up or the final act of Toy Story 3. Pixar is known for pulling on your heartstrings, and that is something that Finding Dory does not do. It's not really willing to take some risks. I'm not going to spoil what those risks are, but it's not willing to take some creative liberties or risks that might make the film darker or make the film much better. And that's a major problem. So if you are expecting a masterpiece that'll leave you bawling in your seat, then this is not the film for you. Now that we've gotten all of the cons out of the way, it is time to talk about some pros. For starters, there are 2 characters that I thought were very well done. For starters, Ellen DeGeneres as Dory. She was very lovable, she was funny, and she added to the story very well. She made a great standalone Dory film. She was very well done. Also, Ed O'Neill as Hank the Octopus. Hank was a very amusing character. He was funny. He had weight and depth to him, and they made a nice couple together. A nice partnership. Dory and Hank, they had some nice chemistry on screen. My other pro for Finding Dory is that it was a very fun and energetic movie. The plot was always moving forward, and it very rarely stopped to take a break to move forward a character or emotions. It was always some fun action scene going on, and it was enough to keep younger audiences engaged as well as older audiences that are being dragged in by their kids. And it worked well in this film. It worked well. This film also had some very smart and well done jokes, didn't resort to a lot of slapstick or cheap comedy. if you don't know what slapstick is, slapstick would be like someone tripping and falling. That's slapstick comedy. It didn't resort to fart gags. Its humor worked well, and that's something Pixar can do well. It has appropriate and thoughtful humor, and it worked well in this film. This movie also included a great message of perseverance and not giving up. Now, through the years, Pixar has not forced out, but it's gotten out some really good messages in its films. For example, I'm just going to list a couple. Toy Story is all about growing up. The Incredibles is all about family. Finding Nemo is all about parenting. Up is all about loss. It's all about loss. What else do they do? Inside Out is all about it's okay to be sad or have negative emotions. And this is all about perseverance. And I think it's not the best of messages. It might be, for example, Ratatouille was all about finding your dreams. This is kind of a little bit of a corny message. But it did work well since it was about a fish with short-term memory loss. So it worked well to persevere through your shortcomings. Now, this is a spoiler warning for this part of the review. It's not giving away any major plot points, but it is a cool little Easter egg. So if you don't want this spoiled for you, click ahead of the video. Anyway, I'm going to explain right now. So, Pixar has a lot of Easter eggs in their film. One of them is the Pizza Planet truck's always in there. The little bouncy ball with the stars on it is always in there. They always include characters from future films in their movies. But one of their most prominent is A113 or A113. Now, A113 is where a lot of the big Pixar creators, for example, what's his name? Peter Docter and John Lasseter. This is the room at college where they all went. They all went to this. That was the room for the college they went to. And so, in literally every Pixar film, A113 is prominent somewhere in the film. It's usually very hidden. And so, I didn't really know this until I had seen Dory, and so I was keeping my eyes peeled for it. So, this is where it is. So, spoiler warning. So, I was keeping my eyes peeled for this the whole way through. And so, if you have seen the film, in the third act there is a car chase in which Hank and Dory drive a truck with a bunch of sea animals on it. And the license plate for the truck is CA A113, or California A113. And California was where the school was. And I thought that was really cool that I had actually found it. So if you have seen the film, or you haven't seen the film and you wanted this to be spoiled, go see it and look for it. It's really cool. Yeah, that's it. I think it's really cool. Guys, thank you all so much for coming and watching my review of Finding Dory. I am back, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be catching up because I'm very far behind. So, yeah, I do have a review scheduled. It's a big, giant review. Hint, that's a hint. And I do have a big review series. I'm going to be reviewing a movie franchise, and so get ready for that. Be excited. Yeah, thanks for coming. Please like the video, leave a comment any movies you want me to review, and yeah, like, comment. Oh, don't forget, subscribe. I need subscribers. Yeah, subscribe. Overall, Finding Dory is a fun, energetic, and well-paced movie that will keep young and older audiences engaged. While it doesn't take any emotional risks, it is still something fun. Wow, since it is that time at the end of the review, I believe that Finding Dory is a family film and not a critic film. It will please critics, but it won't blow them away. It's more family than it is for critics. I'm going to give Finding Dory a B+.